figure out how to make that happen. If that
Yeah.
means you have to step up your game or step up your looks or be more put together or up your mileage or whatever it is, you got to decide what your plan of attack is.
Welcome back to Muse on the Mic. I'm Riley.
And I'm Emily. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us on another awesome episode of Muse on the Mic. Make sure you like and subscribe, obviously. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so share as much as possible. If you're viewing and you haven't subscribed yet, which is like 70% of y'all, we see you. Hello. Hit the subscribe button because once we get to 1,000, we can go live and we get access to more features on YouTube so we can do more with y'all. And a live would be super fun. Glass of wine and us. I can't wait. Obviously, join us over on Patreon for a bonus episode every single week. And this season, we are mixing up what's coming on Sundays. You never know what we're going to
Mhm.
give you. There's some new stuff coming. We're doing some throwbacks. We got more of all the things that you guys have expressed that you love. So, subscribe to the Patreon. Follow all our social media down below. You can find it in the caption. Riley, tell everyone what we're doing today. I love this topic.
We are jumping back to Twitter, back to X, of course.
Of course.
A tweet we saw from at Sex Worker CEO. And we're talking about like sales and goals. And yeah, sex work, this industry is no different from any other. So the question was, sex workers, do you set weekly goals or do you just vibe and see what happens?
You know, hearing you say it is obviously different from reading it with like my sex worker eyes because once I'm in Twitter, that hat is on and that's how I'm viewing things.
Right.
It sounds almost like silly. Almost like, what do you mean vibe with it and see what happens? This is
Right.
the craziest, hippiest thing I've ever heard. And yet,
People do.
I would say that's a close to a majority or even a pretty decent majority of a lot of sex workers in various types of sex work. There's a
Hmm.
lot of people that don't plan or don't even guess or aim. They just kind of be like, I've arrived to my shift or
Right.
I'm here with the client. Like it's silly when you think about it in like a any kind of corporate way or like structured way or like logic or budgeting
Hmm.
thing. Huh.
I think the whole vibe with it is very rookie. And you know what? Actually, as I'm saying that out of my mouth, this doesn't obviously apply to everyone. I think some people go into sex work with a whole bunch of knowledge and a whole bunch of goals. But I think the usual process is you kind of go in not knowing what to expect and just see what happens. I think the strategic sex workers, the ones that are planning, the ones that are setting the immediate goals, the long-term goals, that kind of comes over time. And I think if we can relate it to Muse and the girls at the spa, we try to instill that in them. Like you should enjoy the luxuries of life when you're working in sex work. I'm not saying don't take the trip or buy the expensive shoes, but if there's a mission, if there's a goal while you are in this industry, then set those goals for yourself. And that could be weekly. It could be, I've got 2 years here. Whatever your plan is, have a plan because not only does it make it easy to stay on track, but it's easy to then kind of revamp your goals. Are you going to reach that
Right.
one? And oh shit, I could reach this goal next month. It's interesting. And the money's so attainable in a very strange way from other jobs. Like other jobs, you have to put in 4 years to reach this target because this is my monthly. This is so fluid that you could be in need and pick up extra shifts, or I need to do X number of private dances to adjust kind of to what your finances are. There's so much control the girls have. They just need to kind of lean into that and really take control.
For me, it's one of those like, I don't want to say it's frustrating, but it's one of those like, we're older, we're wiser, and we're experienced and we
Right.
know better. And I just want to drill it into the like, into the workers in the moment or from the get-go of just, at the very least, focus on the goal.
Hmm.
If there's a trajectory to it. And yet, there's different eras of sex work in terms of trends and what like works, what's possible, price trends, mileage trends, all kinds of things. I feel like probably our first 10 years of Muse being open over, the 16 total. Um, I think it's really interesting because we've had a number of girls that pop in for like 6, 8, 10 months
Hmm.
and boogie,
Hmm.
but they had such a goal and such a focus that that's all they needed.
Yeah.
And then never hear from them again. And yet, I know girls that I used to work with that are still in the business that
Hmm.
have always seen two clients a shift.
Right.
It'll just always be.
Yeah. And I mean,
And
we've
there's no
we've
exhale.
worked recently with a few of the muses
Mhm.
that for different reasons had very specific large goals. And I know you
Big
spent
goals.
quite a bit of time working with them to kind of financially plan that out. So tell everyone about what that would mean.
Well, I think there's a pretty easy formula to it. And this is what I kind of try to tell them is a big goal can be overwhelming. And some
Mhm.
goals are exciting, buying a new house, paying for a wedding dress, getting rid of your loans. Some of them are heavy topics, taking care of a loved one or burying a parent or, divorce lawyers. Like there's all kinds of different things and different reasons. But the weight of them, I think, should be the same. Their value or importance should be the same. And so if you've got a high pressure goal, you need to make $20,000 in the next 6 weeks. Well, then you unfortunately need to do some math because there's
Right.
no other way around it. If you just vibe and see what happens,
Hmm.
all the best of luck to you. And there could be a, you know, fund and a wind and a tipper
Yeah.
one day and a whatever, and you may make it there, right? But there's no guarantee, there's no ability to feel like you have any control that way. You're literally just hoping the club is busy that night, or there's lots of walk-ins or appointments for your shift, or that client doesn't cancel at the hotel on the
Right.
weekend or whatever, right? Like you're putting a lot of weight in other people too, and just hoping everything goes how it's supposed to go. And Murphy and his law is not going to show up, and we all know
Mhm.
that ain't a thing because Murphy is the asshole that comes way too
Yeah.
often, unwanted guest. So I tell them to work backwards. And so if you have a goal and you need to work backwards from it, take a month or take your goal and break down how much time you have. Because if you are getting married in 6 months or you're going on a trip, and you need to retire in the next 3 months or whatever it is, you calculate how much time you have. And so the money goal and then the time you have, break that into weeks. And so depending what the goal is, it could break down to, I need $2,000 a week. I'm like, okay, well then how many days a week do you normally work, or do you want to work, or are you able to work? Some people that's only ever one based on their life. Some people they can pick up an extra shift and now do 4 times a week. Whatever that
Right.
is. Break it apart then, the $2,000 per shift or per day. And so that divided by four is a much more digestible number. But then let's
Hmm.
break it down even further because, okay, so you need to work these 4 shifts. How much money do you need to make each shift? And
Right.
that you can break down per client because you already know what you make per customer or per dance or per whatever it is based on whatever type of sex work they do. And that's how many clients you need. You need
Yeah.
6 half hours. You need 3 hours and a duo, or you need at least 7 clients that
Right.
day to that money goal. And if all you do that day is 5 instead of 7, then you know you need to make up 2 extra clients throughout the week. If you're over, I would say don't even slack the next few shifts. Put
Right.
that in a little pot so you can enjoy something after you hit this
Hmm.
goal and celebrate. Take yourself to Mexico. You know what I mean? Like, do it properly and always focus. Okay, if I need to make $760 every shift for the next 8 weeks so that I can pay for blah, 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 then that's what you need to do. But
Hmm.
780 is a lot easier, or 760, or whatever I just said.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to stomach, to digest, to wrap your head around, and to work towards in a day than thinking, oh my God, 20 grand. Like it's a
Yeah.
big, big difference. And maybe you feel that's too much pressure. Well, then you have to organize working a fifth shift or do a double shift, or, like you make adjustments and you make arrangements and you pick up extra when you have to, or you can afford to be sick if that, whatever, whatever. And working it that way, working it backwards I hate math. I'm the first person to never jump to math, but I think doing the math on that one, instead of it getting scary, is it gets like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, I can handle that. I can handle that. 1,200 bucks at the club every Friday night. Cool. That's the
Yeah.
goal. And then it's on you to figure out how to make that happen. If that
Yeah.
means you have to step up your game or step up your looks or be more put together or up your mileage or whatever it is, you got to decide what your plan of attack is
Hmm.
because you need to be effective and efficient to hit those goals. So you
Yeah.
don't want to be wandering around the club with not getting any dances. You don't want to be saying hi to walk-ins in a parlor and never getting picked. You need to make sure. You need to make
Yeah.
sure. So you need to put on your A game, but all the more reason because if you're aiming for 50 G's in the next 2.5 months, that's some serious bullshit. So let's be serious about it because there's
Hmm.
pussyfoot around here and wing it and vibe it and see what happens with 3 clients.
Yeah.
That's cool. Don't come crying to me later though.
Yeah.
And that's serious, right? Because that's a serious goal. If you need to help your family with, let's say, a medical expense, that's freaking serious. And so it's almost disrespectful to the goal to come in and just wing it. Like, why are
Hmm.
we pussyfooting around this? Are you serious? Like, do you want that to happen? Because, like, let's get down to business. This is a business after all.
Hmm.
And often those conversations, they always go really well and they feel relieved after. And they're like, thanks, Emily. Like, now I know, like, I can do this or it's digestible or I've got to now think about how I'm going to make that happen. Um, there's many of them that are like light bulbs and they're like, I've
Yeah.
never thought of this before. And I'm sitting
Yeah.
there going, oh, my head hurts.
You want to go deeper? You want to go all the way? Let's go deep throat. Hi, Patreon lovers. Welcome back to another episode of Deep Throat. You know we love getting deeper over here, and I'm about to take you way deeper into an aspect of one of my favorite fetishes, one of the world's favorite fetishes. So you ready to get deep? You know we're going balls deep. We're going all in. Get naked and strap in because this one's going to be fun. So if you're familiar with or like or are curious about foot fetish, we're going into a very particular aspect of foot fetish that is personally one of my favorite things. I love men with foot fetishes. Worship my feet, buy me shoes, paint my toes. Good life. But one of the fun things about a man with foot fetishes is foot jobs and being able to use your pretty feet to get him off. And foot jobs is actually its own umbrella with options and positioning, and are we using the arches of our feet, the tops of our feet, the heels of our feet, our toes? There are so many aspects to foot jobs that maybe a bunch of people don't know about, but I am actually going to teach you about. And I want the ladies to tune in on this one too, because we're getting into some techniques. I have some tips for you as always. And here is my first tip. I think the most easy position if you're learning or you're just starting off is to have the man on the floor and the woman in a chair, sitting on a stool, on a bench, anything that sort of brings her a little bit above, about knee height, something along those lines, because what she's going to be doing is using a bit of leverage. And because she's on top in terms of like a power positioning here, she's using gravity in her favor because she's also not just in a kind of domineering position, which foot fetish doesn't always have to be a dom sub situation, but positioning wise, it's really important that she has kind of the physical upper hand because she's the one in control. Her toes and her feet and those little arches are what's calling the shots. But when she's in that position, she can practice. Girls, get your feet ready. And we're going to practice putting them together so that our arches are kind of like this. And we're going to wrap it around his penis. Let's get my microphone involved. Why not? A little like this. And it's going to be an up and down situation where you're squeezing and kind of grasping. You like that? You want more? Subscribe to the Patreon and I'll take you deep throat.
At the same time, my first 3 years, I wasn't thinking like that at all. It
No.
took enough time for me to look back. I mean, I don't think I pissed away my money, but I hadn't been hustling the way that you think you are going to when you get into something like this. And
Hmm.
I had to refocus. And that was
Yeah.
part of what I did was the backwards math. It took me a while to get to that. But once I did, I was like, I can do this. It's
Yeah.
digestible. And I figured out how to make it happen. I was a busy girl for a reason. And I hit my targeted goals. It
Yeah.
was just simple. Yeah.
I
So
saw I
that's
saw something on
magic.
Instagram recently. I think I sent it to you, completely unrelated to sex work, but it just dawned on me. And it was a
Mm,
video asking they asked people, what's the percentage or the likelihood that you're going to make $1 million next year?
mm.
And
Yes.
almost like 99% of people said zero. 1% chance, five at most. And they said, what if I said your loved ones or your family or your spouse is going to die if you don't make $1 million next year? How many people said they'd make it? Every one of them said, I'll do it. You don't know how you're going to do it, but you're going to do it. But the how
Mhm.
is the strategy. And in sex work, having that strategy, if shit is on the line, you have to get done. It may not be as extreme as someone dying, but using that as
Right.
the story here is there is strategy to it. And that could be
Mm,
in our world, we scream this from the rooftops to the girls. They don't always get it or follow through is schedule yourself in advance.
yeah,
Adding yourself to the schedule, saying today at 3 o'clock, can you add me to night shift? You are doing yourself a disservice. No one that
absolutely.
is a fan of you is going to have the time to know you're in to book you. Book yourself in advance. Take content, whether it be media you share on your own profiles or media that the owners can put out for you to hype up your performance, your shift, whatever it is you're doing. You have to really take control to maximize your growth and to ensure you meet your goals. And they're not complicated things. It's just when it comes to sex work, I don't think it's the first thought for everyone. I feel like baby sex
Absolutely.
workers don't think that way until they've lived a few years in the industry and thought, you know what, I'm not getting much further than I would with my average job. What do I need to do different? Well, it's really simple. Like
Yeah.
to me, it's simple, and I just want to
Yeah.
tell them all.
It's so true. That's what I was saying earlier. Like it's frustrating to like have this wisdom to know better.
Hmm.
Like and I just want to tweak it in them. And I find, I guess, because of the podcast and it kind of branching our network, talking to so many other sex workers, and like movers and shakers in the industry, and including our social media that we follow, whereas our Muse stuff is so Toronto hyper focused.
Hmm.
Um, I would say I would bet money that a common theme that many either we'll call them baby sex workers when they're new. So I'll say older sex workers when they're not, experienced sex workers,
Hmm.
or even retired sex workers would say that that shift is when you start to think of it as a business. Because
Yes.
that is the difference, right? It is one of the main things you and I talk about, or when we're telling someone what's different about Muse, is we think about Muse as a business. Yes,
Hmm.
it is a rub and tug, but we don't think about it that way. We don't think of it as a cash cow. We don't think of it anything like that. This is a business. And Muse has turned into a brand. So like there's even
Right.
more of that pressure. But just because someone is Julie Inc. and it's her third week doesn't mean she shouldn't be thinking about it as a business.
Yeah.
And it's not her responsibility to think about the brick and mortar aspect of it.
Hmm.
But every girl, not only legally are they independent contractors, but every sex worker, we hope, obviously not all are in this scenario, should be hopefully working for themselves. Right.
Hmm.
And so, whether you choose to work at an agency that's run by a guy, or whether you choose to work at a strip club that only is open 3 nights a week, like whatever your choice is, whether it's online, in person, whatever, the best advice that I think any new baby sex worker could get is to actually think about it as a business and
Hmm.
then learn the formula for whatever aspect of sex work and under that umbrella you're in, because the formula is different. Online,
Hmm.
strip clubs, escorts, fly me to use, pay pigs, and all the things in between. It's all sex work and it each have their own very different strategies. In
Yeah.
fact, we have a girl who's actually coming back that used to work for us before that has spent many years in an excellent, successful career as a stripper. And we were talking about how you talk to a client. And in many ways, we love a girl like that because she already knows how to talk to guys, like
Yeah.
especially older guys. Like she's got that. And yet, the lingo, the style, the atmosphere, there's so many things that are so different. It's not a floor hustle. It's not a public view thing. No one's in earshot. Like there's so many little pieces that are different. The intimacy, the one-on-one factor, it changes how you speak. It changes the tone and the volume you use. It changes how
Hmm.
close you physically are to somebody. Like there's so many little pieces that if you can use those tools that you've gathered maybe from other parts of the industry even and pay attention to the differences and the nuances, you can be not just successful in what you do, but even if you branch or add other elements of sex work, you start flying to you with your favorite clients, or you start adding OnlyFans to your offerings other than just being at the club. Like, you'll figure out those formulas. And the quicker you
Mhm.
figure out the formula, the quicker you make the money you need and the quicker you can
Mhm.
accomplish those goals. And
Mhm.
the ones that I was mentioning a little earlier in the episode that are these short-term bangers that just come in every once in a while, just know it, they're in 6 months, they make 90 grand and poof, they're gone.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know where they learned that formula, but they showed up with the recipe, and it
Yeah.
is amazing to witness.
Yeah.
We love girls like that. Obviously, it's great for business. It's great for her business. It's amazing for her goals. It's inspiring to the other girls, right? But we always sit a little bewildered, going, "How the fuck did you know this?" Just walking in, because it took me 4.5 years and a lot of tears and jizz in my eye just to figure that out. Like, how
The
in
rare
hell
one with the
are
it
you
factor.
21? Yeah. Who raised
Yeah.
you? Tell me your life story, because I don't know how you walked in with this information. But
Yeah.
boy, they've got it. And we
Hmm.
see it immediately. From the
Yeah.
very first greeting, we just look at each other like, oh shit, here we go.
Sure.
She's
And
gonna
and
go.
I think there's two pieces to it as well in any type of sex work. That there's the, like I said, the hyping up your shift, drawing them in, getting yourself bookings. Great, you got them. Second
Yeah.
step, retain them. Because
Yeah.
yes, you got them in. They're on your table, they're in your VIP, they've flown you out to them. Now what are you going to do
Now
with
what?
that time? Because yeah, you got paid. You can look at it very simply.
Hmm.
You've made money today, or you can think about it with a smart business brain of how am I going to make money again from him, and
Yeah.
really connect, wow him, give him the service he's paying for and then some, and he's locked in. He is going to be paying your bills monthly. Like, it is that simple.
Hmm.
Yet it's just not that simple sometimes.
It really, it's such a like catch 22, a yin and a yang,
Yeah.
because it is basic business. It's basic
Mhm.
supply and demand. It's basic marketing. Like, some of those
Yeah.
things are really simple. In fact, some of our strongest, I think, aspects or strengths at Muse are actually really simple, basic things that we just do really well, or that other places just never did or ignored. Um, because I mean, innovative advertising in new places is not like,
Right.
a genius thing that's never occurred in the world. Like, that's crazy. We just do it.
Mhm.
Anyways, I think those two pieces that you were talking about are actually, it's almost two business models that you have to know.
Right.
And I know we have a lot of gentlemen that are listening, and it's not, I know we're talking money, like it's like you need this many, people in your chair as a hairdresser or something. It can seem like you're just a statistic. I can't say that word. Um, that and cinnamon, it's just not gonna happen.
Mhm.
It is a different kind of thing. And when the girls give a shit enough, we always say give a shit is also part of that it factor. It is what makes the difference. When she's caring enough about her money goals and she's taking it seriously, and then she starts to think about it as a business, this actually ties into even, I don't know where the episodes are going to land that we've recorded, but we just did one about music. And like, we were talking about, there's a certain type of sex worker
Mhm.
that curates a playlist on purpose. There's a certain kind of sex worker that asks a gentleman what his preferred music type is. Like,
Right.
that is a certain dedication to your business that you don't do if you're just vibing and seeing what happens, right?
Mhm.
And so the same effort and detail should go into your money goals. Let's be real, guys. This is a
Yeah.
job for them, right? And they're here to either accomplish a big goal that could be high pressure, like someone's health or someone passing away, or it could be a big accomplishment, feeding people, taking care of family. Like, they're sex workers are people. And so they have jobs and they need a certain amount of money. That's why they do the job for the most part. But I think it's easier to master the repeat client business model if you're the girl who gives a shit,
Yeah.
because it's not just, okay, that's $200 closer to my goal. It's that I know connection, and I just had a magical time with Bradley, and I can't wait till he comes back and we're going to work out that fantasy and fulfilling it that he was talking about. And like,
Right.
you're invested equal to his $200 or his $600 or his flight to Paris. Like you go in on something like that. You go all in on
Yeah.
something like that and someone like that. And so when you're giving that much, you want to get that much as a reward, like any job. And I think the more money that's on the line or the more a client visits you, he is your bread and butter. He has more value to you. And that relationship building matters more to
Mm-hmm.
you personally, not just financially and not just to him, but he will feel that from you as well. And that
Right.
deepens the connection there. And that is a beautiful vicious cycle as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to the waiting and hoping, the
Mm-hmm.
betting on a walk-in, the hoping the club is busy that night. That's crazy to me. It's like Russian
Mm-hmm.
roulette with your rent. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's madness. That's you shouldn't do that if you work at McDonald's or sell newspapers. Like you really shouldn't just be like winging it as you go.
Yeah.
And yet the unicorn of sex work would be the girl who does it because she's bored and horny. And maybe she
Right.
doesn't need a gold all and vibing is all she's here for. Amen. Because we met a
That's
few of
true.
those too in our day.
Yeah.
They are definitely more rare, and that's why I call them a bit more of a unicorn. But that's such a rare circumstance, right? Because that's someone who's already financially stable and literally will say, "I'm not here for money. I don't need the money."
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What? To me, madness altogether. But amen to her, right? And if it's just play money or fun money or this is my Botox money or whatever it is, cool. But even Botox has a price, and therefore
Yeah.
it should be your goal.
Yeah.
Like, let's
Well,
be
I think
real.
goals exist in anything. So sex work is no different, I think, is the main point of that. It's just kind of
Absolutely.
guiding the sex workers. And I know we don't have a ton of them here, but I hope if any are listening, and even reach out to us, we can guide you. I'd
Yeah,
rather see a sex worker succeed quicker than having to go through the motions for
100%.
years before she really understands the business, because it's not a complicated one, but it is a business. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely. There's very specific things to do and not do. That's for sure.
Mhm.
I love that offer too. Any sex worker at all. We can always help them refocus and refine their procedures and give them advice and techniques. So good. So good. I love it. Well, I hope you guys learned this and found it a little interesting because it is kind of the back end of things, the like
Right.
secret untold side of like, how did the busy girl get busier? Like, why is
Mhm.
she consistently so hustle mode or whatever it may be? Because she's using her coconut.
Got it.
We love a smart coworker that focuses that way, or a sex worker. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this awesome episode. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.